Alright, so we're going to talk about Peirce today. And Peirce had a lot to say about communication, and basically he derived a few reasons as to why we have problems communicating. Peirce is pretty interesting in that his main thing, what he's coming at this from, is he's looking at people interacting and he's trying to figure out why is it that we have problems communicating. And so he breaks down communication into three different aspects. And the first one of that is coordination. He also talks about coherence and mystery, but we're not going to talk about those. We're going to focus on this coordination. And coordination is something that becomes very obvious when you look at it from his perspective. His main thing that he's talking about here is that our coordination makes it difficult for us to interact because we come at things from a constructed reality. We are not actually all touching the rock and then saying, this is what is happening with the rock. What's happening is we are all looking at this rock and we have different perceptions, different bases from which we can describe this rock. Everybody is looking at this one rock and getting very different things and then trying to communicate about this rock. And when we do that, we have years of baggage, years of different ideas, years of background, lifetimes, our parents' lifetimes. We have generations of history going back that confuse our ability to be coordinated together. A way that, when I was talking to my wife about this last night, that we really was able to kind of come together on this is that I talked about my mission. Surprising, I know, here at BYUH. I talked about it in terms of the outfits that I wore every day. I woke up in the morning and I could go to my closet and I had a couple choices. I would put on a shirt, I would put on a pair of pants, and I would put on a tie. Now, it was always a white shirt, it was always a dark pair of pants, and it was always a fairly boring tie. There was nothing in my closet that I would wear each day that was not easy to coordinate. Everything was color coordinated, worked out well, it was easy. If I go into my wife's closet right now, it's terrifying. There's wraps, there's dresses, there's sarongs, there are pants, shorts, shirts, blouses, scarves. I mean, it's just, again, it's terrifying. Trying combining those things in a coordinated outfits is like trying to get thousands of people to coordinate together their talking, their interactions, and communicate well. And so this is what it's like to try to get a whole bunch of different people to communicate. You have, because we're all constructing our different ideas on what reality is, it's just that you put that together and you have a whole lot of confusion. Add to that, something that Peirce points out is that human beings aren't well-practiced communicators. We don't talk in these organized ideas that we break everything up into individual thoughts. Instead, we talk kind of like this, and, you know, I mention some things and I reference back to it because of that other thing, and it's a mess compared to, you know, organized essay writing. In the world of the missionary closet, animals are more attuned to that kind of thinking. If you have bees, if you have wolves, if you have monkeys, they don't reminisce about the quality of those bananas. You know, the ones with the brown spots that we had last week, the taste, it just had like this kind of flower. It reminded me, they don't do that. They talk about, I want bananas. Bananas are over there. Let's go get bananas. They don't even really do, these bananas are good. They don't talk about their experience. They don't interact that way. Everything that they do, whether it be the bee dancing in certain ways or whether it be the wolf peeing where he does, it's all very literal and very practiced and very specific. There are not these layers of nuance and confusion that you get out of humans. Peirce put it together and he said that there are different ways that we construct this reality for which we interact. So, in talking about the bees and why that's so difficult, they have one mode that they do it in, the reality. So this is how it is, this is what's happening. Humans, on the other hand, it changes as time goes on. Beforehand, you look at why you do something, and there's one force that's pushing you. He talks about four main forces. Beforehand, there's this prefigurative force, why I'm going to do it. Next thing is, I'm doing it in order to get this thing that I want. That's a practical force. Afterwards, you kind of look at it and you say, talk about the contextual force. I did this because it's, expected of me to do that. Then you end up looking at it from this implicative force, and that is this kind of justifying the consequences. I did this so that I would end up in this situation. Each one of those is real. Each one of those is true. Never when I'm talking to you and I'm telling you why I did something am I lying. It's just that there's all these different layers. So he puts that together with talking about human beings, and this is a grand analogy of a whole bunch of different actors on a stage. Some of them are directing, some of them aren't. Some of them are keeping their script close, some of them aren't. That's what human beings coordinating and talking and communicating together is like. There's no coherence to how they do it, and that's what we're going to be talking about next little bit. And so, yeah, that's why we have difficulties communicating, because of our different levels we're trying to communicate on, and the difficulty of getting all these different perspectives together from constructed realities.